Hi, everybody. My name is Michaela. I'm a library associate at the Grandview Library, and I'm coming to you today with a few suggestions for some summer reads. So, I know that everybody kind of has a different definition of what a summer read is. One of my favorite examples of that is that Lin-Manuel Miranda came up with the idea for Hamilton when he was looking for a summer read to take with him on vacation, and he grabbed Ron Chernow's giant biography of Alexander Hamilton, if you've seen it. It's a pretty big one. So, sort of in that spirit, I have some nonfiction reads for you guys if you want to have a bit of an informed summer. So these are all titles that I really enjoyed. So hopefully you can find something that you like out of these three. So the first one I have here is called Say Nothing, A True History of Murder and Memory in Northern Ireland, and it's by Patrick Radden Keefe. And if you work at the library with me, you know that I'm obsessed with this book. I talk about it all the time. It's probably my favorite book right now. And this is about the Troubles in Northern Ireland, which happened in the 70s to the 90s. So if you're not familiar, it's mostly like a religious and political conflict between mostly Protestant groups and mostly Catholic groups in Northern Ireland. And it was a really big, violent conflict that I just didn't know much about before I read this book. So, this book is incredible. It's narrative nonfiction, so it's all things that really happened, and it's really extensively researched and sourced. There's lots of notes on sources in the back of the book. And basically, it starts out with the story of this woman named Jean McConville, who is a mother of 10 children in Belfast. And one night, a group of masked people, members of the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, come to her house and take her away. And her children never see her again. They don't know what happened to her. And so Patrick Radden Keefe is sort of trying to find out the answer to what happened to Jean McConville. And in the process, he tells the story of lots of different members of the IRA and various participants in the conflict. And it's just such a compelling story. It's crazy that these things really happened and that they happened so recently. And I've never read a book that was so engaging, and it's just crazy to me that these things really happened. Probably the main character in it is this woman right here. Her name is Dolores Price, and she was a member of the IRA, and it goes through, everything that she did and her fanatical dedication to this idea of a united Ireland and how that kind of like affects her life and makes her able to do these horrible things that she did. Um, and it's just a really well written book. I know it sounds a little serious, and it is, but it's a great read, and I would really recommend it. It's fantastic. So, Say Nothing by Patrick Radden Keefe is my first one. Okay, next up, I have this book. It's by a local author, and you can see this is my personal copy, and I managed to get an autographed copy, which is really exciting. So, if you guys have ever heard of Hanif Abdurraqib, he's a local author. He grew up on the east side of Columbus, and he wrote this book called A Little Devil in America. It's in celebration of Black performance. So, it's a collection of essays, which is really nice. You can read one essay at a time and kind of take it slow. But just as the title says, it's basically just focusing on Black performance in America, kind of like going through different figures. And then it also is a really great story about Hanif growing up here in Columbus on the east side and the story of his mom and her death, which is really sad, but it's really emotional and a really beautiful tribute to his mom as well. Probably my favorite essay in this one is one about Mary Clayton, who sings, you might recognize her from the song Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones, which was a song that I really liked, but I didn't know the story behind it. And Hanif does a really great job of telling that story, and it's just fantastic. So I would really recommend this, especially since we live in Columbus. It's just a great way to support a local author, and this is a really great book. And then last up, I have This is a great cover too. So you can see it's called How to Hide an Empire by Daniel Immerwahr. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And this is basically a history of American imperialism. So this is just something that I didn't know very much about before I picked up this book. And it's another one, just like Say Nothing, where it's history, but it's really engaging and really interesting. So as you can tell here, basically the main conceit of this book is that we as Americans think of America as what the author calls this logo map, right? So just the 48 contiguous states. But the story of America is so much more, and as this illustration shows, all of these little gray things, so like Guantanamo Bay, Hawaii, the Philippines, all of these are or were American territories. And it is just so illuminating to look at the history of America through the different territories that we have occupied over the years, because that's not really a story that fits with at least my perception of America as I had it before I read this book. So it's really good. I recommend it to everybody. I think it's so important just to sort of expand your conception of American history. It's so good. So I hope you guys enjoy it and have a great summer reading. Bye.